Hey folks, getting ready for the Hebsy On Sports podcast Friday morning at 9:20 on my YouTube and Facebook channels. And don't forget, today especially, reach out to someone who's in need. It's Bell Let's Talk Day. Indeed, let's talk, let's listen. And let's talk about this crazy busy Bluejay week or so, I guess. They added infielder Marcus Simmons the other day. Very excited about that because it got me thinking how much more versatile the Jays are going to be in 2021. Maybe not necessarily in pitching, but certainly around the infield and outfield, because you got all kinds of choices now with Marcus Simmons. He's a heck of a player, can play second, can play third, can play shortstop, obviously, and it gives Charlie Montoyo some flexibility. I'm looking forward to seeing that. However, the other day, the addition of Steven Matz, that's a bit of a head scratcher, I think. Giving up 3 prospects for a guy who likely would have ended up on waivers this spring. I'm sure I don't think the Mets were going to protect this guy. Instead, they got 3 prospects for him. This deal might come back to bite the Jays brass in the ass. It's not like they needed another 6th starter or a 9th bullpen guy. I don't know, except for the fact that he throws left-handed, kind of like Ryan Barucki, but he's got more innings. He's got shoulder problems. He's had injury issues. We'll get into that discussion tomorrow. By the way, the Mets signed former Jay lefty Aaron Loop just before they traded Matz. So once they had Loop, Matz was like, he was dispensable. You didn't need another left-handed pitcher. We'll get into that tomorrow. The Leafs in Edmonton tonight. And we'll talk about that game. But what really concerns me is the lack of discussion over that phenomenal game-winning goal by Mitch Marner the other night in Calgary. We should be talking about that. That was one of the great releases of all time. Instead, what are we talking about? That incident at the end of the game with Matthew Tkachuk and Jake Muzzin. Pretty sad stuff when everyone's talking about that. And nobody's talking about Marner and that release and that beautiful goal and that Leaf victory. We'll get into that a little bit later on as well tomorrow. By the way, I love listening to a pair of CCs on Sportsnet now, Chris Cuthbert and Cassie Campbell Pascal. I know her married name is Campbell Pascal, but I mean, imagine this. I mean, how great it would sound, for example, if somebody said, coming to you from Calgary, Chris Cuthbert and Cassie Campbell with the call. It just flows off the tongue. Tonight we've got on TSN, we've got Gord Miller and Ray Ferraro. No alliteration necessary with those two. Solid pair. And are you okay with baseball and the Hall of Fame inducting nobody this year? Nobody. I mean, the NFL always adds about a half a dozen people. The NHL usually good for 3 or 4 every year. I'm interested in your thoughts on this one because baseball and the writers didn't deem anybody great enough to enter the Hall of Fame this year. I mean, at least one person's got to get in, don't you think? Let us know. Big show tomorrow morning, 9:20 with myself and Toronto Mike on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook channel. Hope to see you then.